Welcome to ThugExposed.Org. Today's show, Jay-Z raps about raping children and women. Hollywood pedophilia exposed. My name is Rayford Johnson. I'm going to be your facilitator. I'm a certified gang specialist. I'm the director of ThugExposed.Org Ministries, and I'm the author of the book, Thug Mentality Exposed. Now, the theme of every show comes from Ephesians 5:11. Have nothing to do with the fruitless deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. And that's what we're going to do in today's shows. We're going to just jump right into it. Jay-Z's pedophile lyrics. Jay-Z, like I said, has raised the bar once again of immorality. And in this song that I'm about to play for you, it's a song titled Monster that he does with Kanye West. He's rapping about raping children and women. So without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and play this for you.
Murder in black convertibles. I kill a block, I murder the avenues. Rape and pillage your village, women and children. Rape and pillage your village, women and children. Rape and pillage your village, women and children.
I rape and pillage, rob your village, women and children. And it's like you haven't heard this on the evening news or anything like that. And I mean, that's just hard, to comprehend that. I mean, like I said, this individual's record sales is still doing well, still racking up Grammys and everything else like that. So, how is that this can go on to where someone could rap about, basically pedophilia, raping children and women, and still be celebrated by the mainstream? Well, let me give you a little history about Jay-Z and one of his mentors, Aleister Crowley. If you look at Jay-Z in this photo, you see him wearing a sweater, "Do what thou will." Now, that's a cliche that Jay-Z lives by proudly. It's basically a blatant protest against God. I'm not gonna do God's will. I'm gonna do what thou wilt, what I want to do. And, it's a basic doctrine of Luciferians, those who worship Lucifer, aka Satan. They felt the serpent in the garden was good. They felt God was bad, that the serpent brought them enlightenment, which was basically the magic. And this is basically the foundation of most secret societies. But like I said, we're going to move on to explain about Do What Thou Will. And we're going to go into a little history of Aleister Crowley. Now, the cliche, "Do What Thou Wilt," was also part of the Hellfire Club in England, in which Benjamin Franklin was a documented member. Okay, now the Hellfire Club was a secret society which worshiped Lucifer and practiced rituals which involved sexual orgies, drugs, heavy drinking, and even blood sacrifices. Now, in 1998, they came across an interesting discovery. Now, the Smithsonian Magazine .com online actually had an article titled, "Why Was Benjamin Franklin's Basement Filled with Skeletons?" Okay, one of our founding fathers of America had a basement filled with skeletons. 15 people. Okay, 15 people, 6 of them children. That's kind of scary. Like I said, this was a club that worshipped Satan, and part of Satanism or Luciferianism is blood sacrifices. And they dated these bones going all the way back to his era. So Aleister Crowley. Okay, let's dig into Aleister Crowley. Okay, now this guy, like I said, he's very influential. Was like a mentor, guru to a lot of rock bands and also rap groups. Now, they're embracing his doctrine. But Aleister Crowley, born October 12th, 1875, died December 1st, 1947. Now, born Edward Alexander Crowley was an English occultist, writer, mountaineer, poet, yogi, and possible spy. He was an influential member of occult organizations. Now, most of Crawley's adult life was dedicated to indulging in everything he believed God would hate. Performing sex magic, taking heroin. Now sex magic, I covered that in another podcast, but that's basically, doing perverted rituals to channel magical power. This is what the occult does. Taking heroin, opium, hashish, peyote, and cocaine. They believe that, this opens up the portal to the soul. Now, the word pharmacy comes from the Greek word pharmakia. And the word pharmakia actually means sorcery. And sorcery is when you open up the portal of your soul being your mind, your emotions, and your will, to spiritual demonic deities. That's what sorcery is. That's why God says don't do it. Okay? And it says, and even once offering himself to Russian authorities to help destroy Christianity. He wrote volumes of books that he believed were dictated to him by a spirit from ancient Egypt called Iwas. To worship me, take wine and strange drugs. Why? Because he opens up the spirit realm. Okay, remember pharmakia. The spirit conveniently told him, lust, enjoy all things of sense and rapture. Okay, enjoy all things of sense and rapture. Fear not that any God shall deny thee for this. Now in Proverbs 1 and all through Proverbs, it says the beginning of all wisdom is the fear of God. So, he was trying to gear people away from fearing God. Don't do what God wills, but do what thou wilt. Okay? Now, L. Ron Hubbard, founder of Scientology. Let me expose Scientology a little bit. And this is all I'm going to say. This is what L. Ron Hubbard, the founder of Scientology, has to say, the author of Dianetics. Talking about Aleister Crowley. It's fascinating work in itself. And that's work written by Aleister Crowley, the late Aleister Crowley, my very good friend. My very good friend. Okay? Now, Aleister Crowley, like I said, do what thou wilt. There's a lot of books written on him. Crowley was a Luciferian and 33rd degree Freemason who wrote about committing child sex and murder rituals for magical power. And this is in his book, Magic in Theory and Practice. He writes, for the highest spiritual working, one must accordingly choose the victim which contains the greatest and purest force. A male child of perfect innocence and high intelligence. He also taught that he would first sexually molest and rape the child before doing this. In another page, he writes, worship me with fire and blood. Worship me with swords and with spears. Let the women be girt with a sword before me. Let blood flow to my name. Trample down the heathen. Be upon them, O warrior. I will give you of their flesh to eat. Sacrifice cattle, little and big, after a child. So here you see women and children, being victimized. Here's another one. On page 41, the best blood is of the moon, monthly, then the fresh blood of a child, or dropping from the host of heaven, then of enemies, then of the priests, or of the worshipers, last of some beast, no matter what. Wow. Okay. So now he had a real dislike, or I should say hate, for Christians, and especially Jesus. And he writes, here we are. I am in a secret fourfold world, the blasphemy against all gods of men. Curse them, curse them, curse them. With my hawk's head, I peck at the eyes of Jesus as he hangs upon the cross. Now, Jay-Z also shares this same hate for Jesus. He did a backmasked song on the Gray album, which I'm about to play for you right now. If you don't know much about backmasking music, I'm going to leave a link below talking about the powerful influence of music, which I break down the history of backmasked music, in which Crawley, again, was a mentor to rock groups about this. It was called the Law of Reversal. But here is a excerpt from a backmasked song by Jay-Z.
666. Murder, Jesus.
666, murder, Jesus. That's what Jay-Z states. Now, like I said, this ain't just, with Jay-Z in the industry. He's not the only one. I mean, listen to this quote by Van Halen. Okay, I mean, David Roth from Van Halen. Okay, and this is basically an article, quote from in an article. Okay, he says, its singer says the demons taught him to emphasize sex while on stage. Rock and roll is more than music. It's a lifestyle, he says. I abandon my spirit to them. You work yourself up into that state and you fall in supplication of the demon gods. Rape, here he is, rape and pillage play important parts in rock and roll. And yeah, I'm Toastmaster for the immoral majority. Wow. Okay. So, speaking of raping children, I'm going to bring up Lil Wayne here. Now, Grammy Award winner Lil Wayne shocked the hip hop world as he recently candidly spoke about being raped by Birdman of Cash Money, aka he's also known as Baby, and then stated that he liked it. Okay, now this is really sad. I mean, he's talking about being raped at the age of 11, okay, by Birdman, and he says he liked it, and that's kind of a reaction. I've worked as a correctional counselor in the prisons for sex offenders, many of them who have been abused. And I'm sure I know he didn't like it, but a lot of times they'll say that because, they feel that they've kept their power. Well, if I didn't like it, then they took my power. But if I liked it, then hey, I still have my power. But without further ado, let me just play this sad clip of Lil Wayne talking about how he was raped.
I got raped when I was 11, Twist. I loved it. I ain't never pressed charges. I'ma do you like Baby them did me.
So you heard that. Like you said, he talked about being raped at 11 years old. And he talks about just, plays around and he's going to do it to somebody else. Now, just recently, this year, another rapper who's on the label of Birdman, I believe it's the Rich Gang, guy named Starship God, okay, he came out publicly, okay, with enthusiasm, stating that he had let Birdman have sex with him to get the record deal. Now, there is a link. You can go on YouTube and see him actually say this. I'm just going to show you the quote, mask out the cuss words. But here is actually the video. I didn't play it because, like I said, he was too much cussing. But he says, anyway, yeah, Birdman blanked me. He blanked me in the blank for the deal. I'm going to be real. I suck Birdman's blank. Okay? And this is what he's saying in this video right here. But like I said, we see that this type of perversion, goes way back. I mean, some of you remember the kiss between Madonna, Madonna and young Britney Spears. I believe it was in 2006. And in People.com, I was looking at that article, reading that article, and it states this: the Material Mom tells Out magazine that her 9-year-old daughter, Lourdes, asked whether her mom is gay because she kissed another woman, the Associated Press reports. Lourdes is really obsessed with who is gay, Madonna tells Out magazine, and even asks, "Mom, you know they say that you are gay." And I'm, "Oh, do they? Why?" And she said, "Because you kissed Britney Spears." I said, "No, it just means I kissed Britney Spears. I am the mommy pop star and she is the baby pop star. And I am kissing her to pass my energy on to her," Madonna says she told her daughter. Now, Madonna is a Kabbalist, and that is one of the most ancient. I got a podcast going to be coming out in about 2 weeks, so please subscribe to my channel, but I'm going to be breaking down the Kabbalah religion. I also talk about it in my book, Thug Mentality Exposed, but that is the most ancient form of Satanism, comes from the Kabbalah religion. Now you got, like I said, you have female artists such as Beyonce, Miley Cyrus, Nicki Minaj, and a host of other entertainers adding to the fiery trend of sexual perversion. Do what thou wilt. And that's basically what they're saying with their actions. Do what thou wilt. And they're influencing uncountable youth. I mean, look at this, picture here. You got a girl trying to emulate Beyonce up here, one Miley Cyrus, the other Nicki Minaj. You got Ellen, who, treats Nicki Minaj like she's some type of very positive child mentor, has her on the shows. And many of you know the type of lyrics. I mean, all she talks about is sexual perversion and drugs and everything else. I'm gonna play this clip here, and it's a real good clip I found on YouTube. It's called "Hypersexualization of Children Exposed," and it's just a short clip, but I think it just brings forth a strong point.
tween market is an estimated $30 billion industry. Marketing experts say retailers who target the 18 to 22-year-olds are really hoping preteens like Hannah are paying attention. And with tween sensation Justin Bieber rocking the catwalk, no doubt they are.
I don't think any marketers would actually come out and admit that that's what they're doing. But clearly it seems to be something that's happening with products that are designed for younger and younger girls.
With the tween fashion industry, you're talking about a multi-million-dollar industry.
Alex Morris is a reporter for New York Magazine. She recently wrote about tweens and fashion.
You're talking about an age group that is sort of in a sweet spot because these kids for the first time have access to their own money.
8 to 12-year-olds now have $43 billion in spending power in the U.S. every year, and sex sells in America, so corporations targeting all that teen and even tween money are selling sex to them. Critics even have a term for it: corporate pedophilia.
Okay, in the next slide, clip, I'm going to show you Corey Feldman. And he was a childhood star. But listen what he says. You know, he's talking about how pedophilia is one of the #1 problems in Hollywood.
A lost childhood and a loss of innocence. He blames the adults, not just those looking to profit from charming children, but also some with far more sinister motives.
I can tell you that the #1 problem in Hollywood was and is and always will be pedophilia. That's the biggest problem for children in this industry.
The casting couch even applies to children.
Oh yeah. Not in the same way. It's all done under the radar.
Nobody talks about pedophilia.
It's the big secret.
And it's widespread?
Oh yeah. I was surrounded by them when I was 14 years old. Surrounded. Literally. Didn't even know it. It wasn't until I was old enough to realize what they were and what they wanted and what they were about and the types of people that were surrounding me till I went, oh my God, they were everywhere like vultures.
Vultures who Feldman says abused him and his best friend, the late child actor Corey Haim, his co-star in The Lost Boys.
Well, what happens if my mom is dating the head vampire?
Feldman says the trauma of that pedophilia contributed to Haim's death.
There's one person to blame in the death of Corey Haim, and that person happens to be a Hollywood mogul. And that person needs to be exposed, but unfortunately I can't be the one to do it. But the person that knows who did it and knows who he is watching right now, I guarantee you. Yeah.
Intriguing.
Yeah. There was a circle of older men that surrounded themselves around this group of kids. And they all had either their own power or connections to great power in the entertainment industry.
Feldman won't name names. And he admits his friend had a struggle with addiction, which he says was a mechanism to cope with his demons. It was a symptom.
It was a symptom, correct.
I'm just going to share a prophecy with you. Now, we are living in prophetic times. Jesus said these will be the signs right before his return. But like I said, 2 Timothy 3:1-5, but mark this. There will be terrible times in the last days. People will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boastful, proud, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, without love, unforgiving, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not lovers of the good, treacherous, rash, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying its power. Have nothing to do with them. Now these are things you'll find in most music videos. All these things that, you know, God is admonishing, you'll see these things being glorified in videos. You know, loss of self-control, conceitedness, the love of money, all these things. Now Satan is planting immorality and depravity in the minds of countless fans. Now, whether they act out these type of sexual perversions or not, many, like I said, have just become hardcore fans of this type of music, which is basically just as bad because they are promoters of the music, of this type of these negative message by just playing it. And, you know, they're supporting it by purchasing it. So they're basically feeding Satan's ministry basically you're paying tithes and offerings to Satan by giving him the money, giving the industry the money to promote satanic, sinful values. You see? So, and for you Christians, not just Christians, unbelievers, but when you do this, this brings upon a curse upon your life. The wages of sin is death. People forget about that. A lot of times, there's curses that come. And sometimes those could be a blessing because they give you a warning before you die. Because you don't want to die in your sins. God loves you. He sent his only son to die for you. Okay, and the Bible talks about 2 Corinthians 4:4 that the God of this world, talking about Satan, has blinded the eyes of unbelievers so they can't see the light of Christ.
I wouldn't serve any other name. Yeah, sure, Mashiach.
There's power in the name. There's victory in the name. There's healing in the name.
Healing.
Anointing in the name.
Yes.
There is peace in the name. If you would speak aloud the name, then every knee shall bow before.
Every knee.
Every tongue proclaim. There's power in the name.
Power.
There's victory in the name. There's healing in the name.
So much healing.
Anointing in the name.
Yes.
There's peace in the name.
Peace.
If you would speak aloud the name, every knee shall bow.
Every knee.
Every tongue proclaim. Yeshua, Mashiach, Jesus Christ,
Jesus.
Your name
That name.
is above all names.
It's above all names.
And let us shout it to every nation.
Every nation.
You're the rock of our salvation.
It's the rock.
Yeshua, we bless your name.
We bless your name. We bless your name.
Yeshua,
Yeshua.
we bless
We bless your name.